Yo, what's up guys? This is Clint from ERRA, and I'm gonna show you guys more in depth on a few riffs that I wrote for this coming album, and just give you guys a little more like behind the scenes on those. So let's get into it. All right, so starting off with Gore Being. So I just wanted to talk about the main riff because it is a bit tricky. So let me just go through it slow. So yeah, the tricky part is the hammer on from nowhere. So it's this guy right here. I think that's the hard part. And then also immediately getting to that bottom string after hitting that. But yeah, I don't really have any tips for it other than just trying to relax and make sure you're not hitting other notes too hard so that these softer ones can kind of come through at the same volume. So they all ring together nicely. One other thing I'll mention is that I'm doing that, which actually isn't on the record, but I like to do it when we play this live, since I am using the whammy pedal for the chorus lead. So I'll just go through that now, because that's a little confusing. Originally, this chorus lead, I'll just play it real quick. So originally that was like a synth MIDI thing that I had put in the demo. And then just thinking about it while we were recording in the studio, we were like, oh, we should probably like make this a guitar lead, or at least it would be cool for me or Jesse to play it live. I think in the studio we actually recorded it like using the E and G string up here, so like, but like we tuned it so that it was like an octave apart, you know? So that doesn't sound right there, but yeah, so it's really like that plus a synth layered in, or whatever the original like lead was. And then in order to recreate that effect live and also make it easier to play, I'm just doing this basically. And then using like an old whammy 4, doing the 2 octave up, like pitch shift thing, so it gets all like crazy sounding. So yeah, that's how we like recreate that. And then I've seen people like cover it where they do it like without using the whammy pedal, and like props to that, because I feel like that's way harder. So if you wanted to do a cover, you could totally use the whammy pedal and do that. One last thing, which I've talked about a bunch of times before, but is like the technique that really like holds all these riffs together, is one that's used a lot in ERRA, which is using 2 different fingers on your right hand for tapping, so that you can tap an octave like that, or some variation of that. So that's like a little verse lead, I think, of that song. But yeah, we're doing the same thing with pretty much all the riffs. So if you get this technique down, other than that first riff where we do the weird like hammer-on thing, I think the rest of the ones come together pretty easily. So that's like the second pre-chorus or something. But yeah, it's just all using that. And I guess like a good like warm-up for like those riffs would be the chorus lead, since it's not moving around as much. So yeah, give that one a try first, and then you can try the rest of the riffs. All right, next I'll move on to Further Eden, which this guitar is in drop G sharp, but I have the whammy DT down here, shifting me down like 5 steps for drop D sharp. So that's like my actual tuning, and then shifted down. So I'll just play some of these riffs and then give you guys some inside info on them or whatever. So, yeah. That one, I mean, honestly, it's a pretty straightforward riff. I think the one thing I would point out is we're doing a little double tap sneaky guy there, just like in the gore being riffs I talked about. Right at the end there. And then doing the little bends thing, like that's something I really tried to like put all over this song, like a lot of little inflections, you know? So I think that stuff's super important. But yeah, that main riff is pretty straightforward, and the one thing that changed about it going into the studio was adding like some variation on the root notes. So I don't think that this part was in the original demo, but it kind of like makes it more interesting to hear the second time around because it's like something new, and it works with the vocal melody nice. So moving on, I'll just go to the, I guess we'll call it the second verse section. I think I was just messing around with like, just like doing things like that. And I was like, this is kind of a cool sound. Like it kind of reminds me of like when you have a Floyd Rose and you do like a whammy dip kind of thing. And then of course trying to put like little harmonics in wherever I can. And then we gotta cheat the -2 at the end. Hi, Jesse. So this section's just super like blues rock sounding. I remember this like Dimebag Darrell like tutorial where he's teaching this one song, I forget what it's called. It's just like all stuff like that, and he's talking about doing what he called the hick bends, which are like, which is just fun. I don't know. So I added those a lot here. As well as some like slideys. It was really just like whatever sounded cool in the moment. One note about that part is originally I had it as, but that got vetoed because it was too much. The next thing I want to talk about is the end breakdown harmonic riff. So let me unshift myself real quick. So yeah, all I'm doing here is really just like doing the natural harmonics and like it pretty much goes from like, it's hard to explain it, but it's like the second fret, like right on it, to like 2 1/4, to like 2 3/4, to 3, then to 4. So it's really just about like feeling it out and seeing exactly where those are. And really just going between these 2 low drop strings here. All right, let me try this out on the actual tuning. And then, yeah, it's a pretty simple pattern. Just, yeah, that would be like the pattern. A lot of cheesy blues stuff, and that's why I like this song. The riff after that is just on the bottom string, but same kind of like harmonic vibe to it. So. Yeah, so the other riffs in this song really came about from like a light kind of like verse thing I had. So this is how that went. And then the bass is, that was like an original verse idea I brought in to kind of have like a light verse. And then we're like, all right, well, now it needs to like switch up to something like heavier for the second half so it stays interesting. So that's kind of where these things came around. Basically just like a lower octave of what I just played. And then it goes into the... Yeah, then the second verse, we pretty much did the same thing, except for adding a little like tap to it, so. Almost, but yeah, so it's pretty much like the same like progression, same kind of part, but just like changing it up so it's not like a copy paste, like boring thing. So yeah, I think that's about all the riffs in the songs. And let me know if you guys learn them. Yeah, we don't have to do that.
Yeah, that's like